Welcome everyone to my coaching tip. I think it's day 20. Before we go into other things, I'll just start off with the golf little quiz of the day, give you a bit of time to think about it. Many top players have nicknames. We know that Jack Nicklaus, for example, is famously known as the Golden Bear. Three others for you just to think about. One is called the Bulldog. Who might that be? Another is called Chippy. And another one, El Nino. So a little bit later I'll give you the answers to those. I'm sure you probably know them. Before we get into the coaching tip, let's just talk a little bit about the Raffles. There's been a fantastic response already. Even though the newsletter hasn't been sent out, it's due to go out probably later today. The two raffles in question, one is an all-day coaching package with me, which I only do 4 a year because of diary constraints. 6 hours of coaching plus lunch and so on is valued at $299, so you're welcome to enter that. And also there's a raffle for the shop credit for the voucher. This week we're doing 5 times £100. If we get to that figure, anything above that we'll give out vouchers of £15 each. Tickets are £5 as normal. To enter, very simple, just contact me at mikehenninggolf@gmail.com. And as I said in yesterday's video, I'm also going down to the club on Friday to do some more cleaning of the range. And if you prefer to use credit cards, which I know some of you do, I'll be in the shop in the morning. So just contact me at the email address before then, and I'll arrange a time to call you when I'm at the shop, and we can just do a credit card transaction as we normally do when we're open. So just let me know if that's more suitable for you. I want to talk in the next couple of days about what I call finding the ball, and we'll talk a bit about divot taking and so on. Tomorrow I hope to go in the garden and show you with a wood how we can flatten off the bottom of the swing. But today we're just going to talk about backspin on the ball, which we all take for granted. What sort of drives me slightly mad when I've watched golf over the years is that we see all these top players with lots of different swings and their own mannerisms. There are some common denominators amongst them all. And the most obvious one is that most of them, or all of them, as they hit irons, take divots. Now, the depth of the divot will depend on the length of the club, the shorter the iron, the steeper the angle of attack. And it will also depend on the turf they're playing off. So off linksy turf, which is tighter, the divots will be less. But they're all hitting down on the ball. Why are they doing that? So let's just talk about how we get the ball airborne. And I want you to imagine this ball is lying on a concrete path. And to get backspin on the ball, we have to hit the ball below the equator line of the ball. I've got a range ball here so you can see the two red lines quite easily. And really we need to hit the Antarctic cap of that ball for it to rotate backwards up the club face. So as the club is coming down, it's hit with a descending blow, it hits the bottom of the ball, and the ball then rotates backwards depending on the loft of that club. So if that was lying on a concrete path and we wouldn't want to hit the path, and we're trying to hit the Antarctic cap of that ball, the margin of error is so small that nobody can do it, even with McIlroy's ability. If he hit 100 balls off a cart path, yes, he would hit them more successfully than I would if I tried to do it, but I'm sure even he would hit the ground early sometimes, or catch the ground too deep, or thin the ball because the margin of error is so small. So what top players are doing is they're hitting the ball, as I said, with a downward blow. The ball is hit first as the club is still descending. So the bottom of the arc of the swing is not where the bottom of the ball is, it's beneath the ball, probably ½ an inch to an inch beneath the ball. And the club then enters the ground and stays in the ground for 5 or 6 inches. This is why you obviously see top players taking these huge great chunks out of the ground. Be careful that when you're practicing in the garden at the moment, particularly with irons, that you're merrily trying to miss the ground because you don't want to take divots out of your lovely lawn. Well, therefore you're practicing thinning or topping the ball, which obviously makes no sense at all. Try and get a coconut mat, a big door mat, unless you've got a golf mat already, that you can hit into to get the downward blow. And once we're back at the club, the best way to practice this is obviously off grass. What we used to spend hours and hours on many years ago was just taking divots, hundreds and hundreds or thousands in lines, which sounds a bit mad, but that's what we used to do. And eventually all those divots not only start at the same place, so you could put a piece of string along the back of them, but they were the same length, same direction and same depth. So we can have the best swing in the world, we must learn to compress the ball, to squeeze the ball, never ever trying to lift it up or manufacture loft. So something you can work on off the grass or even off a mat if you've got one at home. Okay, so tomorrow, as I said, we'll try and get in the garden. I'll show you an exercise with the wood that you can do off the grass to flatten off the bottom of the swing, as I've said. So that explains why we should take divots. As I said, they don't have to be great big chunks, but think of it as a downward blow, not an upward blow. Answer to my questions earlier, some nicknames of golfers. The Bulldog, Corey Pavin, he is or was a diminutive man, so he had a reputation for really hanging on in there. Chippy, Paul Laurie, apparently had a fantastic, or has a fantastic short game, particularly his chipping action. And the one I'm sure you all know, El Nino, of course, is Sergio Garcia. So I'm sure you got most of those right, or all of them right. So that's it for today. Sorry we're indoors. We've sort of gone from the garden to the lounge to the garage to the front of the house. So I think we're banned from going into any more rooms by my wife. So have a great day. Look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. Just lastly, and I'm sorry to press the point, there is a hint that we may be back in golf by the middle of this month. That's what I hope, and that's a sort of rumour. So all of the current offers, the raffles, the account top up, and the buying product off the product list off my website, which are greatly reduced prices, will end on Sunday week, which I think is May the 10th. That's after the current lockdown, and there's a possibility we may be back to work or maybe back to the club after that. If we're continued in lockdown, then I'll come up with some more offers for you, but if we're back at work after that date or soon after, then all of this will finish by then. So you've got sort of 10 days to take advantage of these if you wish to. No pressure, but just to give you a timeline. All the very best. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.